Man, guys, we had a super impactful episode today. Just that answered a ton of questions. But just like this series does well, opened about 15 more questions for us to figure out. So let's just kind of get right into it because we have a lot to talk about and about a lot of different characters I did not think we would be talking about yet. So let's get right into it. Our episode begins, actually, with a little bit of insight of how Didas felt throughout his whole life with Bochi, which I think is a good thing. You know, at the beginning, they were brothers, they spent time together, they loved each other, they played together. But as they grew older, Dida kind of became a little more jaded, if you think about it. Because you see that he started to look down on his brother as a weakling for the circumstances that he's been through. And that's kind of unfortunate, but that is how the world works, Everyone's mind works differently, and, well, you can't make someone feel a certain way. So, he has a little bit of resentment for Bochi. And we see Bepin notices this, and he teaches Dida a lesson. That are people weak for having the problems that they have? Or are they actually strong for having those problems and overcoming them, no matter what? And it's really a great question to ask ourselves, because we face this in today's society today. So many people are struggling. So many people have different problems about things. But does that make them weak? Does that make people weak for having these problems? Or does it make them strong for having them and then overcoming them anyway? It really is a good question that kind of hit home with me when I heard it. It's really some food for thought. You guys let me know down below how you would respond to that question, because I'm very curious to know. But we actually get a little more insight into Lady Miranjo in this episode, because we transition over to Dida in this, I'm going to call it the spectral realm, or the inside of his own heart, if you will. Because they haven't said anything yet, and that's what it appears to be. So he's inside of that, and he sees a little girl mysteriously come in there, and then a bunch of people there harassing her. You see, they blame this girl for being a monster, that she killed them all. She made all their lives awful. And we get a little bit of insight. The girl is terrified. She doesn't know what's happening. She just wants to be left alone. And Dida, of course, being how he is, he doesn't see that. He's actually disgusted by her as well. Because we see that she wears a mask, and her mask falls off. And Dida is initially disgusted. He calls her a monster. Until we find out that the people there were the ones that did that to her. They ripped her face off and cut her hands off to make her feel the suffering that she made them feel. And I don't know about you guys, when I saw that scene, I just thought to myself, who's the real monsters here? And apparently Dida felt the same way, because after that, he had a flashback of what Bepin told him about people being strong by overcoming their adversity. So he beats the shit out of these people for doing this. Rightfully so. They're scum. And he tries to befriend this girl. He extends a hand out to her saying, you should stay by me. It's safer here. We'll get out together and all that. And it turns out that this girl is actually Lady Miranjo, or at least a past version of her when she was younger. And it's really interesting if you think about it. Why is she there all of a sudden? This is supposed to be the inside of Dida's heart, his own subconscious. So why is she there all of a sudden? It's very interesting. And her backstory, every side of a story, or every story has multiple parts in it, and every side of a coin has another side. So what is really going on? Why is her past self here while her future self is out there doing evil things? It really is quite interesting. Where are we going with this? But that's really all we get on this episode, but a little bit of food for thought for you guys. Anyway, our second half of this episode We get a lot of reveals, actually, because we go back to the king of the underworld, and we see him freaking out all of a sudden. And it turns out that he has some prisoners that have escaped from his prison. And we find out that these prisoners are all heinous, heinous villains. And their leader is someone called Ouken, commander of the Order of the Underworld, who is apparently such a deadly person who knows all these mysterious techniques that is bloodthirsty as hell. So they locked him away. And we actually saw him in a previous episode. He was the guy eating the rat. So he definitely has some problems. But we see he's freaking out. So he sends his apparently new commander of the order to go fetch Boche, who's actually leaving Despa's place at that very moment to go back to the kingdom. And we have one of the best scenes, I think, in this show, man, that really just put a smile to my face. And I felt a little emotional watching it, honestly. With Boche trying to express his gratitude to Despa. And Despa just looks at him and he says, Boche, you've been through hard things in your life. You've went through things that normal people haven't went through. But because of that, you have an understanding of it now, and you are a better person because of it. Be proud of yourself. Keep your head held high and be proud of yourself. And I love that scene. That scene really got me. It's very well done. I can understand why everyone loves this show, guys. It's so good. The quality of it is immaculate. The art style is like a 90s anime, but just the heart and soul put into this series is incredible. So yeah, the commander actually finds Boche, and they start heading to the kingdom. And we see at the kingdom that Domas and Hokaru are continuing their training. And we see that Queen Hilling is actually kind of making a task force to infiltrate the kingdom in a way. So we really see that all things are starting to come to a head. And we're definitely going to have a conflict soon. Because we actually see that these mysterious criminals that escaped from the underworld have made their way to the kingdom and have apparently kidnapped King Boss. Which, I'm going to tell you guys right now that I don't believe for a second they actually were able to take him down or to kidnap him. There ain't no way they did that. Like, King Boss is definitely letting them do it. So it's really interesting. Like, why would he do that? And what is their real goal here? Why would they do something like this? I imagine they're working for Lady Miranjo, but what is the goal of this all? If she hired them to come into the kingdom, why would they take King Boss as a hostage? I thought she was close to him. So it's really quite interesting. It makes you ponder, like, what is the real goal here? What is Boss's goal and what is Lady Miranjo's goal? And how is Ouken and all them going to play a part in it? I'm very curious. This was an episode that was extremely hard not to just instantly click the next one, guys, because I want to know now. But for you guys, I waited. So yeah, we actually had a lot of insight into Lady Miranjo this episode, which I think is a good thing, because she's kind of been an enigma throughout this show. You know, she's kind of, her motives, her way of doing things is obvious, but her motives have been very clouded, along with King Boss. So, like, what is their actual end goal here? I'm extremely curious to know that. Like, what is she really after? After seeing her tragic backstory like that, like, why is she the way she is now? Like, I have a general understanding of why she might, but what is her goal? You know, maybe she does actually want to be a princess, because we see in her flashback that she does want to be one, so maybe that's her end goal. But that seems kind of basic, you know? So let me guys know what you think about it in the comments. Don't look ahead. Don't cheat. If I ain't doing it, you guys can't. So don't cheat. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on that, because it's very interesting. Like, this series, I gotta say, like, it keeps you on your toes with all these different plot points we get. You really don't know what a character is going to do until they do it. I think that's a great thing to keep a story exciting and fresh. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about it. But yeah, I think that'll really be it for the episode. We got a lot of insight into her character. We got a little bit of insight into Daida's character and his perspective on Bochi. And we got to see that Bochi's finally having some confidence in himself and is heading back to the kingdom to make something happen. And we see that the kingdom is really becoming a big focal point of the series because all our different people are converging at one spot. So shit is going to hit the fan soon. And I'm very curious to know what's going to happen then. But yeah, until the next episode when we find out, guys, I hope you guys have a great day, week, month, and year. And yeah, man, if you're looking forward to the next episode, also let me know in the comments because I certainly am. But yeah, guys, that'll be it for this one. I hope you all have a great day and deuces.